While HBO's adaptation of the hit PlayStation exclusive series is expected to remain faithful to its original source, it's already been made clear that some larger changes have to be made to the game's story than originally thought. But for a game with such a critically acclaimed story, these changes may end up making or breaking the series. Let's take a look at all of the changes we know about so far, shall we? Starting off with big changes in The Last of Us. With Neil Druckmann, the creator and writer of the two original games, and co-president of the production studio Naughty Dog at the helm of the upcoming series, a faithful adaptation doesn't seem too far out of reach. However, some of the pre-release details have made it clear that there are some larger changes that have been made for reasons that aren't exactly yet clear. The story of The Last of Us revolves around the characters themselves more than anything else. Despite zombies and other humans standing in the way, they're pretty much just part of the environments that our protagonists have to pass through. As Joel and Ellie, played by Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey respectively, make their way across the country, the environment itself ends up being as much a challenge as any of its inhabitants, with the two having to work their way around crumbling architecture and surviving in these dangerous elements. Let's take a look at what changes they've made to the show. While the environment and set pieces were a major part of the original story, it looks like Druckmann and HBO are going to be changing that environment for the TV series. In the first game, Joel and Ellie start their journey in the Boston quarantine zone, travel through Pittsburgh, and then head all the way west to the imaginary state of Wyoming. During their time in Pittsburgh, the pair meet two other survivors, brothers Henry and Sam, and avoid the hunters along with them. However, the official casting announcements for the brothers have revealed that they're going to be hiding in Kansas City when Joel and Ellie run into them instead. Similarly, Melanie Lynskey's Kathleen will be leading a revolutionary movement in Kansas, which seems to be HBO's version of the game's Hunters. Plus, the location itself never actually appears in the original game, and is not only further south than our protagonist's route takes them, but is also much further west than their stop in Pittsburgh. Adding to that, what does it mean for the series? In the game, the moment Joel and Ellie meet the two brothers is a very significant moment for the pair. While the two still struggle to get along while Joel tries to keep his distance, Henry and Sam's relationship serves as a direct parallel for them, with Henry forced into somewhat of a father role to his much younger brother, just like how Joel cares for Ellie like a daughter. The tragedy that befell the group has a massive impact on the lead duo and their relationship going forward, and it seems very important for it to take place that early in the game. However, since Joel and Ellie won't be meeting the brothers until Kansas in the HBO adaptation, they'll not only have to go a lot off course, but will also have traveled together for much longer. This would mean that their relationship will most likely already be more developed by that point, and might lead to a much larger change for how Henry and Sam's story plays out. Since the brothers' tragedy served a major role in the protagonist's story, this change might mean that HBO can give the pair a happier ending. One can hope, at least. We don't think we'll be able to stand the heartbreak a second time. Moving on, that isn't the only major change they've made to the series. Co-creator Craig Mazin has also recently revealed that the new television series will be changing a major zombie element from the original video game. In an interview with Comic Book, Mazin admitted that HBO's upcoming adaptation changes a major threat of the game's infected enemies, explaining that certain story elements had to be changed for the new medium in the adaptation process. This meant that Mazin, along with Druckmann, decided to remove the concept of spores as a way for the fungal infection to spread. What's more, this change might end up helping the show. The zombie-causing fungus in the original game is inspired by a real-life fungus known as the cordyceps fungi. In the game, the infection had been caused by a mutation of the fungus that ends up becoming strong enough to affect a human's brain. There are two ways the infection can be passed, either through the bite of a living infected individual or from the spores spread by the bodies of deceased infected persons. While playing as Joel, players would have to keep donning a gas mask in order to protect themselves in spore-dense areas. However, the removal of the spores as well as the external threat of an airborne fungal infection may end up lessening the danger of the cordyceps virus in the television series. Removing the spore element also helps eliminate the logical question regarding the free-flowing transmission of the virus. If the spores are diffused by air, avoiding the infection would be practically impossible. Not only does this allow for a greater sense of believability, but it also gives audiences a better chance of understanding and accepting the terrifying world of The Last of Us. Additionally, Ellie's story might also be seeing some changes. While there are parts of Ellie's early life that have been mentioned in the games, it looks like her upbringing could also end up being explored in detail in the upcoming HBO adaptation. Ellie's original game voice actress, Ashley Johnson, has been confirmed to be playing a woman who gives birth during the the apocalypse in the series, with many believing that her character will most likely turn out to be Ellie's mother, Anna. Considering how Anna had only ever been mentioned in the game, it makes sense for her to appear in the TV series if there's going to be a lot more focus on Ellie's early life than in the games. This could potentially give us a deeper insight into the character that we've never had before. Plus, the game's Left Behind DLC, as well as the prequel comic American Dreams, introduced fans to Riley, a friend and love interest of Ellie's. While we know how the two met through the comic and learned that she died after both ended up getting bit at the end of the DLC, leading to Ellie's discovery of her immunity, not a lot about her or her relationship with Ellie is known. Considering the fact that the HBO adaptation will also be adapting the DLC expansion, it's possible that fans will learn about what happened between the two before it and after the comic. But that's not all, as we may be able to see more about her journey with Marlene before she hands her off to Joel at the beginning of the game as well. All in all, expect a lot of new lore. Furthermore, this may even lead to more scenes being added that weren't seen in the original games. While Ellie had already been one of the main characters in the first game, it isn't until the sequel that she finally steps up as a protagonist. But a lot of things happen to her in between the events of the two games, and it would be nice to see how her life changed in the years between them if the HBO series decided to bless it with a second season as well. Since the first game ended with Ellie and Joel returning to live in the community that the latter's brother had shown them in the middle of the game, fans never really got the chance to see Ellie adjust to living a life with that many people around her who aren't a threat. Seeing her meet all of the people that she came to care about in the second game, such as Dina and Jesse, and how they ended up becoming so important to her, would definitely be a welcome addition. All of the flashback sequences from the second game could also be adapted into episodes, showing us how Ellie came to realize all the lies Joel had told her in a brand new way. On the other hand, there have also been a lot of changes to Joel's character. In a recent interview with The New Yorker, Druckmann also revealed a few of the changes that have been made to Joel for the series. Although much of his character remains faithful to the original game, the co-creator decided to include several new show-specific traits for the character. Instead of making him appear like the one-man army in the games, the creators decided to add a few handicaps to his character, suiting a middle-aged survivor in a post-apocalyptic society. So not only will he be hard of hearing on one side due to an injury caused by a gunshot, but his knees will also hurt every time he tries to stand up. Let's take a look at why the changes work for Joel's character. Video games allow players to experience a uniquely interactive way to interact with a story. While films, TV shows, and books are passive media, video games, on the other hand, put the player in the shoes of the protagonist and give them control over several of the key decisions made throughout the story. This means that hindering the player's control with physical impairments could potentially lessen their experience, which is why television shows allow writers to have certain creative freedoms that would have otherwise become difficult to achieve in a video game format. So basically, giving Joel physical manifestations of his long journey as a survivor grounds his character. It also heightens all of the dramatic tension as he escorts Ellie through the harsh new world. Finally, there are still several things that haven't been changed. Despite all the character changes, most of the show's story and characters appear to remain the same. Early set photos and videos have revealed that several locations from the original game have also been meticulously recreated for the show. These include a small suburban neighborhood that fans would remember as the setting for an intense sniper battle, as well as the hospital that holds one of the most dramatic moments in the entire story. With the first episode set to premiere soon, it'll soon become clear just how faithful the series is. That's a wrap for this video. Do you agree with the changes that are being made to the series? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.